Hi, and welcome to Unicorn Ventures. Today, we're going to be talking about the startup acceleration process. And Unicorn Ventures is, of course, a startup accelerator. You can find it at unicornventures.org. It is a digital accelerator that's open to anyone. So, we're going to start out at a high level talking about the table of contents, which is going to go into the startup acceleration process at a high level. It goes through organization, vision, values, and virtues, market model, platform, evergreen content, content distribution, domain authority process, funnel creation and product market fit, list development and customer interviews, customer development, team, and financing. So we'll start out with organization. So the first key to organizing, or the first key to the startup acceleration process is going to be to getting organized. This is going to be very important because there's a lot of moving parts when you're doing a startup, and getting everything organized and foldered is going to be very helpful. So we provide a taxonomy of foldering, which is going to encompass all of the different steps that you're going to take in the startup acceleration process, so you can track one by one exactly how that's going to work. We do that in Google Drive, and you'll be able to create folders for the different steps, etc. Second step here, vision, values, and virtues. So we're trying to understand what the organization is going to look like when you're generating $100 million in revenue or you're a billion-dollar company. The key is to understand exactly what you are building and work backwards from that desired end state to tangible actions that you can actually take today, and we call those virtues. We determine exactly what it is, and then what we want are the values, and determine which virtues you need to actually get to those certain values. So the values are $100 million company in revenue, billion-dollar company in total enterprise value, and how are we actually going to get there? What do we need to do, and what that's going to look like? So the next step that flows naturally from the vision and virtues is going to be the market model. So based upon what we're going to be doing at a high level, that's going to affect our market model within which we employ to get to $100 million in revenue. So there's 5 different variations that we're going to be talking about that start out with a different number of users at a monthly revenue amount. So at a high level, you're going to be talking about very few customers paying a very large dollar amount on a monthly basis that equates to $100 million in annual revenue. And then we work our way down to very many users paying very little. And we'll talk about how that's going to work. So that's just the mathematics, and the mathematics of the market model affect how we tangibly operate and organize our platform, which is the next step. So based upon which market model we're going to employ, that's going to determine our platform, that's going to determine our customer development and our list building and our outreach. So the features that you need in your MVP are most likely already built in WordPress in the form of a plugin or a platform or a theme, I should say. So there's no need to waste thousands of dollars in weeks and months on your MVP. What we're assuming here is that we're going to be taking a theme with some customized plugins to get to the functionality that we need, and really just testing that with the right content against the marketplace, where we can get to a more detailed solution at a later date. But the key is getting something to market, which is the MVP, using a WordPress theme and plugin. And then from there, once you're at the MVP stage, you don't need to worry about an app at the first point. The cheaper and sooner you get to an MVP, the better off you're going to be doing. So we're going to test that against the marketplace and get our data. Now, as it relates to the content that you're actually putting on the platform, this is where evergreen content creation comes into play. So now that we have something of value for the customer or the consumer, we can now create the content that will make up the offer that we are using for our list building. So content creation starts with analyzing the keywords that people are actually searching for within the category, understanding the value themes, and we're going to be creating 3 to 5 evergreen pieces of content as blog post tutorials and other ways to convey that messaging on the actual platform itself, and as well as the marketing through the different channels, and we'll talk about that in a moment here. So once we have the evergreen content, We're going to then go about distributing our content. So, one of the key ways to build domain authority and get more free traffic from Google is to actually utilize that evergreen content and distribute it onto different platforms. And social media, in this case, is really about list building and getting that interaction with the content and getting some feedback on that. So we're going to be using, heavily using that in our process here. So as we are building our platform, taking the content, and generating some traffic, naturally what's going to happen is the domain authority process kicks in. So the domain authority is scored on a 1 to 100 scale using an algorithm designed by Moz. Domain authority between 40 and 50 is considered average, between 50 and 60 is good, 60 and more is considered excellent. So it's going to take time. The key is doing different things to actually build the domain authority process, because what that ends up happening is getting natural organic traffic from Google and from other sources, which is going to be very key. And the key is going to be becoming an authority within your niche. And this can only be done by creating great content and engaging with your followers and consumers on social media. So we'll talk about what that process looks like. Next step, funnel creation and product market fit testing. So when we are thinking about spending money on advertising, for example, with Facebook ads, or doing any sort of marketing where we're generating awareness, we really want to create a funnel that can capture the sort of information that we need to stay in touch with that individual and move them through the sales process. So we do that through creating a funnel. And we can do that in a couple of different ways via a Facebook page that turns into a Facebook group, that turns into an invitation to become a user on the platform. This could take in the form of a landing page where we capture some information in exchange for some value. And we're going to be talking about how we can deploy that in different ways. Next thing, as we build our funnel, naturally what happens next is actual list development. So this is where we go about maybe running some Facebook ads and getting a list of likes, and then doing a content drip or inviting those people into a group where we actually can interact with them and do customer interviews. And the real reason we're doing customer interviews is this is almost an indirect way to have a sales conversation. So we're finding out what's of value, we're seeing if there's a fit with regard to what we're actually offering, and then from there we're taking that information to either change around our platform if we need to iterate, or have those sort of customer interviews turn into sales discussions where we can actually enroll a user and then begin the utilization process of our platform. Customer development takes that next step. So once we have a list built, we can then take the actual necessary steps to do customer development, which entails moving them from through the funnel itself that we've created, and actually taking that list, activating it, moving them into a group, moving them farther along to becoming a user, and actually converting that list into something tangible that we can utilize. Now that we have something built of value and we're getting some traction in the form of list building, customer development, we're going to be building and focusing on our team so we can actually support some of this growth that's taking place. A heavy emphasis is going to be on having a technical co-founder in some way, shape, or form, whether that's a technical teammate for now, with the understanding that you'll find a technical co-founder. And then we're also going to engage with some community managers and some gig-based freelancers to do different things for us. And we're going to be talking about the best strategies to utilize those, who to use. We have a list of vendors that we utilize on a regular basis that are great, and we'll be able to talk about that. And then finally, we're going to talk about financing. One of the things that gets left out of the financing discussion, which is crucially important, is the ability to have some form of stable income to be able to get you far enough along in the process where you can tangibly and reasonably get traction and then raise an external source of financing. And that comes in the form of a job and a career. And we're going to talk about some strategies there, because realistically, if you're able to invest 5, 10, 15,000 up to $100,000 in a startup, you're going to get some traction in the form of list building, activating that list with customer development, getting your initial users, being able to get the word out, being able to see some of those network effects take place on some of those existing users, and really getting to a position where you can tangibly raise a venture capital round or approach a seed accelerator or another accelerator, and really get have a very, very strong case that you can make, where they can almost not deny you because you have so much traction. So this is at a high level what we've done at Unicorn Ventures. We obviously go much greater into detail for every step, but wanted to have you and provide just sort of a high level understanding for exactly what this is going to look like. So go ahead. If you're looking to get more information, you can register for the course of the acceleration course at unicornventures.org, and we'd love to hear from you. So do let us know. Thanks for your time.